in a different sort of approach, a different sort of question. People often talk about growing a community, growing an economy, and others talk about, rather than making something larger, making something rather better. Quality of life as opposed to quantity of things out there. How would you improve the quality of life for any given person or the whole community?
Well, that kind of comes on the other side. I mean, I talked about CEO of the administration, but also champion of the community. And the mayor certainly has a role to play in the way Fort Wayne as a community interacts with our fellow communities in this region, and also how the citizens interact with one another, and with the city itself. For example, the city owns 90% of the ground that's adjacent to the rivers in the downtown area. And we've acquired that through the years as part of the flood control projects. What are we doing with that ground right now? Nothing. We are growing shrubs and trees and making it really hard to tell that we even have rivers until you're driving on a bridge or going over one and noticing how high or low the water level is. I, for one, am a fan of kayaking on the rivers. I like to take my son down, and because it gives you a whole different perspective on our world. And that's a slice of Fort Wayne that a lot of people haven't taken the opportunity to investigate. So, you know, it's pretty straightforward. If the city were to just clear the ground along the riverbanks and make that property available for development, because it was acquired through federal flood dollars, we couldn't sell it, but we could do long-term leases with a waiver of liability. If the 100-year flood comes, you knew it going into it. And allow restaurants and entertainment and recreation, private sector businesses, have a chance to succeed on our riverbanks. The community is crying out for that, has been. Again, that's as omnipresent as the discussion about making it a better place to do business. What are we going to do about our rivers? How are we going to better use our rivers and enjoy our rivers? We are one of the few communities that has just the whole breadth of river systems that doesn't do anything with them. Some of that is because of the problems we've had with combined sewer overflow, but it's also in the focus we have or have not had on making the rivers usable and accessible by the citizens.
You know, there are plenty of buildings along the riverbank, old buildings that were torn down and then pushed over the side of the riverbank. There's probably 5 or 6 brick streets that form the riverbank as well. So that leads us to the North River project. You mentioned earlier that you had discussed that with some other people. What should we do there? What would you do there?
I will say that I don't think short-term we need to do anything with North River. It's being touted. There seems to be an anxiety about the property because it's open and available, and they've gone through some steps to clean it in recent history. Long-term, I think it would be beneficial to develop that for the community, but I'm not sure that the city government and the public sector needs to play as strong a role in that as some people might think. Part of my background is as the president of the Downtown Improvement District, and I would much rather see us deploy our resources towards downtown and the neighborhoods along the corridors. I think North River long-term would be a beneficial development, but I don't see it as a priority over investing in the core of downtown. We've as a community, have put a lot of resources into the Harrison Square area. We still have a lot of questions about how the finances for that are going to work. I don't see overextending ourselves north of the river before we've got that under control, and before we have, in order to be truly successful, we need to spur growth in a continuous fashion. So it's growing along there, and it will spread eventually to where North River is developed. But I don't see that in the